So when we practice meditation, and you have to be very clear with the technique, as I always mention, and because this is not something you have to believe. This is very clear mental mechanism that you have to understand and develop. So when you become very clear with the mind, this practice will help you to get into that the bottom of it. And otherwise, if you start to go in a different way, and sometimes with the practice, once you close your eyes, the slowly deeply that what is happening, whatever inside your mind start to overtake your practice. So that's why there is nothing hidden in your mind and in your body. There is nothing that holding behind you. There is nothing, no any power behind you hold. So that's why you have to, it's very you can be very clear, because this is head to toes the mechanism. So once you are become very clear with this, and it is very easy when you practice to guide yourself, because once you close your eyes, you have to deal with your mind. That is sometimes not easy. So anyway, that's why we have to break down to parts. For the Buddhism, there is another word called Vibhajyavada. That means that there is a deeper spiritual, different interpretations. But the very simple meaning is, you break down things to understand. And that way you recognizing the essence of the Buddha's teaching. So when it comes to this, that our main purpose is recognizing and understanding regarding our mind. What is happening with us? What is this mind? How this is happening? So when it comes to that, you have to remember that everything is thoughts. Everything is thoughts. That is the very first thing that you have to accept. There is nothing beyond the thoughts. If you are able to understand and recognize the thoughts process, and then little by little, you can get into the bottom of this mechanism and understand it. So, but if you don't care about the thoughts, and if you try to become more aware about the outcome regarding the bodily, verbally or mentally actions, and you cannot change the pattern, that it's still this keep happening inside you. So the very purpose of practicing meditation, getting to the bottom of our own mind, awareness, consciousness, and recognizing how this thought arising. So when it comes to that, there is something that in day-to-day life that you have to remember. There is no something that called past or the future. There is no tomorrow, because always the tomorrow, when you reach to tomorrow, it's going to become this moment. There is no next moment or last moment or the past moment. Always you experience only this moment. But look our mind always have, it's like a flux, it's like a net, it's like a spider web. We always have that things related with the past and the future. Our present moment always depending from the past and the future decisions. And when we trying to think something, what is happening naturally, the mind start to bring certain things related with the past and the future. That all created in mind. Because in this very moment, there is nothing like that. Even if you go beyond that the last moment you went, whatever happened, it's already gone. It is that what you reflecting, it's in your mind. and even the very next moment it's in your mind. So if you understand that within one thought, within one second, in this very moment, once you come to this moment, from 1 second you start to recognize forward and backward. Once you become clear with that, what is happening, you start to recognizing the world itself in your mind, even the universe itself in your mind, and the samsara itself in your mind. It's a thought you carry. So already it is there. So once you recognize that, it's like you drop that the package that you carry within yourself. Once you drop it, and if you become 100%, if you had that completely become in this very moment 100%, then there is no samsara for you. And the samsara always happening when you are not clear with the present moment and always depending from the past and the future. So that's why when you go deeper to the bottom of your mind, once you recognize that only you can experience this moment, in that very moment, once you settle down, and that is there, your liberation happen. You transform. Why? Because anymore you're not going to depend from past or the future. You become very clear with the moment and 100% you are there. Because when you ready to die, and in that very moment, if you able to stay in the present moment anywhere, your mind cannot catch anything as a desire. As a self, it never look for any place. Why? Because you are in the very moment, you are fully satisfied. But when you going to die, you cannot do it, because we don't know how it going to happen, and we don't know when it going to happen. And sometimes even that we have the strength and courage in this very moment to observe our mind, but when we get sick, and when we are in a difficult time, when we are in the pain, and sometimes we cannot focus like this. So that's why again and again, when you keep practice deeper yourself, it become a profitable skill and you become slow, clear. So whatever in the surface level you do, as a bodily, verbally or mentally action, deeper inside you have that clarity. So even just whatever happen, in that very moment right away, your mind start to get into that. And so that's why the very safe place for you to keep your mind in the present moment, and knowingly that moment also the always changing, and not only that, the recognizer, the subject that itself, that your consciousness, awareness, that you recognizing it is as a present moment, and that also change. That is where you completely release. So, but there is something today I want to talk this. There is something when you go deeper yourself to your mind. There in the middle there are certain barriers, and one that we call the 5 hindrance, and before we go to 5 hindrance, very simple thing that I want to mention, that's emotions. So when it comes to emotions, that if emotion is not bad in the first level, so we have to understand what is emotion, because once you recognize that itself, that you can handle that, because emotion play a big role in our life, and sometimes entire life people caught up with emotions, and some people that itself take the emotions as life. So then just take a few minutes and see that what is emotion. So according to the modern psychology, the emotions means thought contact with the feelings. When a thought contact with the feelings, it creates a current. That current create energy. So once something become energy, what is happening? It is start to flow. So that is the modern psychology explain as emotions. It's current, it's in a flow. Energy in motion. So what is that energy arise? How the energy arise? With the contacts. So how the contacts arise? You have eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and the mind itself as organs. So then perceptions coming from outside and contact. So in that contact, when the eye contact with the colors or the pictures, eye consciousness arise. This all happening is kind of like at once. When something come to your ear, sound arise. How the sound arise? When the sound come and hit your ear, the sound consciousness arise. That when there's three things happening, it is spark. It's like a brain waves. And it is just not create emotions. This is where you have to be very clear. You have some past experience as thoughts, because thoughts is a kind of like it's words. The thought has pictures and the words. So from where it came? It came from your past experience. Whatever you accumulated, whatever you repeated, whatever you used to live is already there. You can call it as a muscle memory, and you can just call it as a memory, and you can call it as a good or bad karma. It is there, whatever you have done. And how it can come to you? It can come to you through your culture. Once you're born as a baby, whatever the environment and whatever the parents' behavior, whatever the tradition or the culture, even whatever you schooling, that means you study. So information you keep putting again and again and again. And so this can happen and through your life journey. So thoughts are there. It's already nothing related with this moment. This moment is a new moment. So in this very new moment, whatever come to your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, and create a consciousness. So that consciousness is like a spark, light. That light get connecting with that past thought. That is where the emotions arise. It become energy. Once it become energy, the very nature of the energy, it's the flow. But the thing is this, we have blood. So the most powerful tool that we carry as a human body, in our body, not the flesh, not the bones, the blood. So you know the 75% our body is water, and the mainly carry the blood. The very nature of the blood is accumulating, holding, grabbing. That's why when you have a cut, if it is flow, so what you try to do, you just try to keep it hold. And if you are healthy, what is happening? Naturally, the blood start to settle down itself. That is the very nature. That is what happening with the information also with the blood. Whatever's come, it start to settle down. It doesn't care this is good or bad or something like that. So when your spark, that as I mentioned, that whatever the information come to you, that as consciousness arise itself and it come mix with the thoughts, and that at that very moment your blood start to carry it. But blood come and blood it happening with the blood and start to hold it, and blood carry it go all over your body. That's why you feel like the when the emotions high, you completely change. So if you don't recognize this is nothing wrong. Only thing is you have to divert it to good. So what is good everyone knows, and what is bad everyone knows. But the thing is, there are some people, you may heard and even you have experienced, there are some people say, I know this is not good to do, but I cannot stop it. There is something happening in me and I have to do this. So that's the power of emotions, because it related with the blood. When the spark come and catch the blood, it go all over your body. So then consciously what you have to do, because there may be something is stronger than you think. What one thing is, your previous experience sometimes strong. As example, you went out with the friends, or whatever incident happened last month or last year or 10 years back, and that was so strong, and it is as a memory, you hold it, always remind you, repeat it. Maybe you talk with others and you don't care about that much, but maybe you have pictures, always you see it, so like that. So then maybe it the thoughts. So the other thing is you repeat it inside you, so that means it is in your blood, it in current. And another thing is, so now there are two things. The another thing is, sometimes outside situation you had a very small memory. So as example, you heard something in the past regarding something kind of like some food, or just name something like a chocolate brand. You heard somebody said, oh, this is a very good, or maybe you saw an advertisement regarding ice cream, but you never had that in your life. Just one day you saw it, so now it is in your mind. So it is there, and then suddenly you go somewhere, then the people are around there, and that everyone start to eat that ice cream. Then suddenly what is happening, that the information, the contacts, the sensation, this mean whatever came to your eye, and eye consciousness arise, and that very moment spark happen, and then what is happening, the previous thought, that whatever you had, and it come to you. So then the doctor told you, don't eat anything like the sugar, because you have diabetics and the things that. But in that very moment, when the current become high, what is happening? It's cut down all your wisdom, and you just go, and you go and grab it and eat it. So this is what happens. This is what the emotion. So it can happen good way, or it can happen bad way. As example, so there are some people become generous. So you go somewhere and somebody invited, we have dana ceremony, that means offering dana to monks, offering lunch to monks. Can you come? You never had experienced that. You never been to that kind of ceremony. So you go there and you see everyone offering, and the monks and preaching and saying everything that everybody appreciate it, and monk chanting and preaching Dharma and saying it is something good to practice. While you seeing it create a kind of like a thought, oh, this is good. So you never did it, you just watch it, and then what is happening? And then one day that you start to get some food, or you start to have an environment to to share something with somebody, and suddenly it come to your mind, oh, I want to give a dana. So that if you never heard it or if you never saw it, it has no power to create your emotions. That is what you have to understand. If you never saw something, if you never heard anything before, it cannot be your emotions. So emotions always need something trigger, that the fire, to light the fire, it needs something from your past. So when you become emotionally high, if it is that in a bad way, remember, don't blame to anybody. It's like, as example, maybe somebody says something, you get mad, angry. So bad emotions. There is no such a thing called bad emotion, no good emotion, just emotions. But for this conversation, to make it more clear in a conventional level, so you say it's a bad emotion. Oh, why you make me angry? No one can make you angry. If you never had something in the past, if you never heard about it, and when people say something, it doesn't matter to you. So then you have to break it down then, because it is a huge current in our sun that take us in the, it can wash us, and that the 90% people in the prison because of the emotions. 90% people got married because of the emotions. 90% people have the children because of the emotions. 90% people have the fight because of the emotions. 90% people have most of the financial difficulties because of the emotions. 90% people get into the habit and because of the emotions. 90% people have the disease or the illness and go to hospital and take medication because of the emotions. The life itself is like a package of full of emotions. So when you come to clear and understand, it doesn't matter how powerful this outside world, you have to carry something inside you to make it more powerful or the nourish. So when you develop the sati or the mindfulness or the awareness, clear comprehension, consciousness, or you can name anything, because scholars have different arguments regarding, oh, you cannot name it as a consciousness, you cannot name it as a mind, you cannot name it as a, so like that you have to tell it sati sampajana. So but forget about it, just the mind. So when you have very clear idea, whatever this outside, you can try it, whatever outside happening, if you never bring anything from your past experience, previous things, there is no emotions, it's shut down. That is where 90% you end your samsaric journey. 90% you endure this all. That is where you can easily get into the samadhi, tranquility state. And other 10% is very easy. Why? Because when the mind drop this current, you have so much enormous power. You are more powerful than you think. You are so stronger than you think. Why? Because we spend so much energy. You spend so much your life to maintain these emotions. Look at yourself. You will see that. How much the energy you spend, how much money, how much time you spend for your emotions. And so then yourself, remember, if you are able to cut it down, break it down, separate it, and you going to develop that. When the emotions convert to the intelligence, according to the modern psychology, so the what is happening, there are few things that you can develop. One is the self awareness. You become more understanding. And whatever outside happening, you never allow that inside things to get into that. So it's like the behavior of the virus. When the virus come, it needs certain connection from inside. If that inside connection doesn't happen, it not going to become powerful. So you become self-aware, and then you maintain yourself. Another thing is self-regulation, and you maintain it again and again and again. Another thing is the motivation. You're not going to become lethargic, and again you become more powerful. And not only that, empathy. You develop the empathy, and there is no jealousy, hatred, anger that come around you. So that way, that you naturally develop your self skills. So that is how the emotions we can convert to intelligence. But the very first thing you have to remember, take the fully responsibility. That is the beginning point. Take the fully responsibility. It doesn't matter whatever happen tomorrow. Take the fully responsibility regarding your life. Don't throw anything to anybody, even yourself. Try to. So whatever the difficulties, hard time, the good times, so even your health, don't blame to anybody. Just take the fully responsibility. That is the beginning. You start to convert the pattern to good. So that is, in another way, that is the way to become matured. So when you become matured, that your emotions become more calm and relaxed. So try it yourself. And in the history, because of the emotions, people get into big situations, troubles, and people give up a lot of things, change a lot of things, and it can happen to good or it can happen to bad. There was a very famous Sanskrit scholar. He's a rishi, and he used to live with the wife. He was in a deep love with the wife. So wife one day went to see her parents, and that night he couldn't leave himself alone. And then what he did, in the middle of the night, it's a heavy rain, and he start to go to see the wife, and he need to cross the river, and that time no any boat to cross the river, because everyone at night went home. So then he looked around here and there, then he saw a piece of wood, and he took it, and with the help of that, and he went to the other side of the river. And then he was so hurried to see his wife. The people who study the Sanskrit literature, they know this story. So somehow he went to the house, and he found the house, and even he don't want to knock the door, and he saw the upstairs, that his wife's room, and he saw there was the piece of rope. So what he did, he climbed using that and get into the wife's room. And suddenly, in the middle of the night, with this heavy rain, the wife saw this husband and asked, how you came? Are you crazy to come like this? Then the husband told, I cannot stay without seeing you. I miss you so much. Then wife asked, how you came? Because you cannot cross the river. There is no boat this time. Then he told, no, there was a piece of wood. I came with that, and you can see it is in the next to the river. So then she looked outside the window, and she saw a dead body. And she told, you crazy, it is not a piece of wood. How blind you are. How you came holding the dead body? He couldn't recognize. And then asked, why you don't knock the door, and how you came to this upstairs? No, there was a piece of rope, and I climbed with that. And then she asked, there is nothing like that. And then she looked, and then she saw there was a snake. So he holding the snake and came. And then she told, if you, this so much energy, this so much strength, this so much desire, if you use it to find the enlightenment, you will attain to enlightenment. It hit his heart, and he took it, and he started to look, what is that? Enlightenment, liberation. And from that day, and he turned back. He turned back mean mentally, he turned back. And he, from that day, he dropped down that the desire, the current of the emotion, and then he started to divert it to look for salvation. And he attained to the salvation, liberation. And he became a rishi. So, the same thing within us. Look yourself. From birth to death, you just feeding emotion. That is we take us with the samsara. So, I mention you. I make it very clear. I think there is no question between that. Remember, there is a path, fast experience. You need something, and then the contacts happen. With that contacts, there is a consciousness arise. That consciousness was not before. It happened in that very moment. It created a fire, and that fire come together with the past experience, create energy, and that energy start to get into blood. It take you all over your body, and then you, even you have eyes, you don't see anything. Even you have ears, you don't feel. So but when you slow down, and keep the gap between the reactions, and slowly learn to observe, you start to see this. And that's why when you have the cool blood, your emotions not high. So when the blood is heat higher, the emotions go like this. And through the food, through the association, through the lifestyle, you can cool down your blood, and at the same time observing, understanding, and getting a good desire, and converting that emotions to the good way, to the right path, and you can come out of it, and you can bring something good. So remember, it is nothing wrong, nothing bad. This is a system. So you have to understand it. So don't try to go against, and don't try to misunderstand, and don't try to go against it and do something. No, you cannot do it. You are itself emotions. You cannot go against you. Only thing, understand it and have a good higher purpose, and start to slowly guide towards that. And if you see anybody and having emotions, that is where now you can have the compassion regarding. Why? Because now you know it is not that person. Now you know it is the mechanism of this system. So I hope this will help for you. So with this good practice, I wish upon everyone, may all of you be well, happy and peaceful. May no harm come to you. May no difficulties come to you. May no problems come to you. May you also have the patience, courage, understanding and determination to meet and overcome inevitable difficulties in your life. During this time period, may everyone stay healthy and safe, and finally may all of you attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sabbidyo vajjantu sabbarogo vinasatu mate bhavatantarayo sukhi digayuko bhava. Ittavata chamme sampadam punya sampadam sabbe deva numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe bhuta numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe tatta numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya idamme punya kammang asavakkaya vahang hotu sabba dukkha pamuncatu. Bless you.